There is plenty of finger pointing and a lot of blame shifting happening in Austin tonight.
Legislative hearings into last week's power failure are continuing late into the night. A predicted winter storm, one that the powers that be in charge of Texas Power should have been able to anticipate, caused a near total failure of the state's grid. Millions lost power. People died. And today, many of those people in charge went in front of Texas lawmakers and basically said either it's not their fault or it's not their job. Fox 4's Blake Hansen has been following the hearings all day and now into the night and is live. Blake.
Yeah, Steve and Heather, those hearings still going on at this hour. If only we had counted the number of times we heard the word blame today. There are many different groups facing criticism, the power plants, ERCOT, gas companies, but it is also the government entities tasked with overseeing it all. While ERCOT, which manages the state's electrical grid, has faced the brunt of the criticism and spotlight for last week's winter storm failure, a new person in the hot seat Thursday evening was Public Utility Chair Deanna Walker, an appointee of Governor Greg Abbott. The Public Utility Commission has an oversight role over ERCOT, though Walker tried to downplay that.
To say that we have the amount of power that was implied is just wrong.
Multiple Republican lawmakers insisted the commission does have more authority, and Walker admitted she hadn't asked the legislature for more power.
You have complete authority over ERCOT. So I'm having trouble with you mentioning several different times that you lack the authority or that this or that has been delegated to ERCOT.
Also revealed during the testimony before Texas Senate and House committees Thursday, top officials in at least one power company reached out to the governor to raise alarms about the storm. That company is Vistra, an Irving-based company that owns dozens of retailers like TXU and Ambit Energy. While it had concerns, the CEO testified it's not really his company's job to warn the broader public.
Frankly, I'll be honest with you, when you have a situation where you think that you're going to have blackouts, I'm a little concerned about us being the bearer of that news because that can create panic and other things. And so I tried to work through the system, and maybe that's not the right thing.
Asked how the governor responded to warnings, a spokesperson pointed to this news conference and language used by the governor.
All of Texas is facing an extremely dangerous winter storm in the coming days.
The spokesperson said those comments were several days before the storm. That's false. It was less than a day and a half before the rolling outages started. ERCOT was also featured heavily in Thursday's hearing. Governor Abbott has called for an overhaul. CEO Bill Magnus has pointed to the fact ERCOT narrowly avoided a complete blackout. But some power companies say the grid still got dangerously unstable, tripping some power plants offline, making problems worse.
They're pointing the finger directly at your agency regarding management of the frequency and at the change of the frequency being the primary culprit as to why so much generation went down.
They've not shared that with me. I've only heard it from members of the legislature.
The CEO of Encore, which manages the transmission lines in our area, testified tonight. You'll remember that ERCOT directed those transmission companies to reduce power and institute those rolling outages. Of course, we later found out that they were not rolling. The CEO of Encore said that they basically have a list of who ends up being shut down, and they would hope to share those lists, make that public so that people can prepare themselves in the future. Steve and Heather.